Hey people, it's Niles talking. Now I'd like to thank one of my subscribers for telling me about this. This is recommended reading, so this is Rise of the Warrior Cop. So this is from Amazon. I'm going to read the blurb. So here it goes. The last days of colonialism taught America's revolutionaries. The soldiers in the streets bring conflict and tyranny. As a result, our country has generally worked to keep the military out of law enforcement. But according to investigative reporter Radley Balko, over the last several decades, America's cops have become increasingly to resemble ground troops. The consequences have become dire. The home is no longer a place of sanctuary, the Fourth Amendment has been gutted, and police today have been conditioned to see the citizens they serve as an other, an enemy. Today, armored-up policemen are a far cry from the constables of early America. The unrest from the 60s brought about the invention of the SWAT unit, which in turn led to the debut of military tactics in the ranks of police officers. Nixon's war on drugs, Reagan's war on poverty, Clinton's COPS program, the post-9/11 security state under Bush and Obama. By degrees, each of these innovations expanded and empowered police forces, always at the expense of civil liberties. And these are just four among a slew of reckless programs. In Rise of the Warrior Cop, Balko shows how politicians' ill-considered policies and relentless declarations of war against vague enemies like crime, drugs, and terror have blurred the distinction between cop and soldier. His fascinating, frightening narrative shows how over a generation a creeping battlefield mentality has isolated and alienated American police officers and put them on a collision course with the values of a free society. So I'm just going to read a few of the reviews from the professional ones. So, product description review: Mr. Balko manages to avoid the cliches of both right and left and pokes genuine outrage at the misuse of state power in its most brutal and unaccountable form. Heavily armed police raiding the homes of unarmed, non-violent suspects on the flimsiest of pretexts and behaving more like an occupying army in hostile territory than guardians of public safety. Rise of the Warrior Cop, Mr. Balko's interesting first book, explains what policies led to the militarization of America's police. To his credit, he focuses his outrage not on the police themselves, but on the politicians and the phony, wasteful drug war they created. The historic review of America's police and police tactics is clear and direct in its non-dismissal narrative. This is not an anti-police book, but a serious look at the growth and use of SWAT and military-style tactics, and America's war on drugs, and the financial incentives that created the new community police force. This book is highly recommended for the historic value of the information. It's clear, concise, and well-argued. Whether you are a lifetime card-carrying member of the ACLU or the newest law and order politician, The Rise of the Warrior Cop provides a clear timeline and important information, making it a must-read. In this last one I'm going to read here, are cops constitutional? It's a bold and provocative question, and the more Balko delves into the history of law enforcement, the more that question seems worth considering. After reading Balko, you'll be aware, alright, and scared. And most of these things, for those of us who know, it's all about being able to terrorize the black population. It's only when the police end up terrorizing the white population that questions begin being asked. I remember reading The New Jim Crow, and only when, the crime, the process of crime, seizures of assets, they tried to seize a millionaire's $5 million estate, that questions began to be asked. When it was just seizing poor black folks' possessions, it was never a problem. Well, anyway, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.